Hello and welcome to Destiny Digits. This is the Life Path number 4 reading. Your Life Path number talks about an opportunity that you have in this life. It talks about a path that you can walk on, and on this path you are living in your purpose. So there's something intended for you to do, and the energy that you carry comes through your birthday. Your birthday is how you figure out your Life Path number, right? And so your birthday gives you an energy to help you walk out a purpose. And so as a 4, you're a builder. Very practical, logical, self-disciplined. And so that's the energy you need to walk out whatever your purpose is in this life, okay? And so this reading is almost like a temperature check to figure out where you are along your path of purpose. So first row is going to talk about where we are. We have sanctity. It says, through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. And so this card makes me think, I immediately have the image of the 4 of Cups. And that's the character that's sitting under a tree, looking out at the 3 cups in front of them, like not fazed, could care less about them, still bored, life is still dull. But then right over the right shoulder, here comes this opportunity out of nowhere that can totally become a game changer, right? And so this is saying that even when life seems to not be moving, not unfolding, not really engaging you, even in those moments, you have to be consciously connected. This is about not falling asleep, because at any moment the big one is coming, right? And so this is about being ready to answer the call. Under sanctity we have judgment, and that's what that is. That's about saying like, whoa, I know my purpose, I understand, I can hear, I can see now, right? And so at one point, you could have been asleep, you could have kind of fallen into a pattern of behavior, a level of consistency with life, thinking that things were just going to continue as they were, and no big change, no moment was coming. But then bam, you're in this space now of judgment, and that's about responding to something that is literally pulling, tugging, calling on you. Beneath that it says, I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. And yes, and so sanctity is saying that even in the most mundane, the dull, the boring issues in life, right? Even in those moments, they become opportunities for us to show faith, right? So we shouldn't be so this thing is on. Life is always rolling, like the camera's running, right? And so sometimes we can forget that when things seem to be uninvested. So problems are always going to come. But what wakes us up most times are those big tower moments, those shocking, out of nowhere. Those are the things that wake us up. But I think what is necessary is saying that in the space that you are right now, you may have been sleeping and something came in and has totally woken you up. And you have the ability to answer this call, because answering this call puts you on a clear path of purpose, right? And so whatever you have to do to stay conscious, to stay connected, to stay responding to what this call is, this action, this project, whatever this thing is, it requires you to step outside of boundaries, to step outside of self in order to walk in a new way, okay? And that can be a little uncomfortable, right? But this is realizing that even when the territory is unknown, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And so 4s, let's just talk about the middle row with the tarot cards. 4 cards are majors, right? So there's, and we end it, the 5th card is the Page. And so you're going through all these big energetic shifts, uploads, upgrades to become new again, right? And so first space, where are you right now? You're answering the call, and you're realizing that I need to stay woke, I need to stay connected, I need to stay true to what I now know and understand about my purpose and where I'm going in this life, right? And so what is your task? What are you being called to do? 2nd card is trust. It says, allow me, divine, to give you my deepest longings, trusting you to know exactly how to handle them. Alright, so this is pretty exciting. So this is saying that whatever is for you is for you. But even when it's not yet arrived, you have to know that it's coming, right? You always have to be prepared for its arrival. And so temperance is here because it's saying that you always, as best you can, should be balanced, in harmony with all that's above and below, with your inner self and your outer self, right? Just making sure that we are just always watching, waiting, anticipating, but in a space of grace and hopefulness. We're never resisting life, whether it comes in dullness or whether it comes in extreme chaos. Really finding a way to maintain ourselves through all of those moments allows us to know that what's for us is for us. Everything we face is because we are supposed to be able to get through it. We can get through it. We are prepared for it, no matter what it looks like. So don't let it shake you or break you. Yes. Beneath temperance it says, beneath temperance it says, my vibes speak louder than my words. And so you want to know how, if you're really in harmony, like you can say what you want to say, right? You can act calm, cool, collect. You can act like things aren't crumbling around you. You can totally act like that. But even silence is loud, right? And so this is about realizing that the energy that you carry is more important than the words that you speak, right? And so think about the space that you're walking in. And so that's what temperance is saying. It says, balance what's in you, because anything that we speak is a reflection of what's in us, right? And so my vibes speak louder than my words. So what first you're always going to communicate is the energy that you carry. Think about being in a room and, just scanning a room and just looking at postures and behaviors and the way eyebrows are shifting on foreheads and the way lips are moving or not moving. Are we touching our face? Are we scratching the back of our neck? Think about all those non-verbal social cues and behaviors that speak loudly. And so those are vibrations. Those are spaces that people stand in. And you can read those spaces without ever hearing someone say a thing. And so if someone were to be reading you, the goal is for you to look and feel and resonate like temperance. To be in harmony, to not be resisting. Right? And how are you able to be in that space? How are you able to do that? In such a graceful way, because you trust. You're being called to trust. You know that there is something destined for you that is coming to you. And that's why it's so important to be on the right path in the right place at the right time. So no longer are you asleep, right? And even if your surroundings are unknown, you trust. You trust. You trust that your transformation is ahead. That you are on purpose, doing everything you are intentionally connected to your existence in this moment. And the divine knows that you can handle this, and that's why you are stepping in to this new space. Now listen, newness in our mind always seems to be like a big red bow being ripped off of a package, and there are lights and everybody's clapping for us because we've just gotten to our prize. This is what we've always been wanting, right? And so what I see here with the World card, but also loss, this newness is really a version of you. I think what you've always wanted was to be truly you, right? And so fours, you were very orderly and intentional and steady. And so you don't want to squander your energy. You want any energy that you put out, you want to make sure that it is moving. You're builders, right? And so if you're building a home, Like, you don't need a whole bunch of tools that really cannot help you. Okay? You don't need them. If they're not useful in building the home, then it would be taking up space. And so the World card talks about something is completing, something else is beginning, right? Cycles. So one door is closing. But the fact that we have loss, it means that any tool, anything present in life that is not aligned with purpose must go. Right? It says sometimes you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the ego's. So listen, it's almost like this is saying it's going to be a bumpy ride, and your ability to hang on to what your ego is telling you and what your consciousness is connected to is going to determine how you view what you're going through. Okay, so you're completing something, but if we're too much in ego, it may look like we may resist. We want to control. We don't want to let go. And so this is pivotal because you're leaving something behind, and you're going into a new space. Imagine a door. You're walking through a doorway, right? But you're hanging on to the door frame, and you won't let go. Like you won't completely step into the next room because you're hanging on to the door frame. And so why are you hanging on to the door frame? Because your ego is really concerned about what is leaving, what is going, what is being closed out, what's completing. It's not understanding. The ego had a plan and an agenda of its own. But if you're really going to answer this call, if you're really going to walk in this moment of judgment, it's about surrendering and breaking down all forms of identity, right? And so as you shred and shed things within you and false beliefs and patterns of behavior, realize that everything that is leaving is to be replaced by love, right? And so at some point, you called for this, you asked for this, and it's here. And you shouldn't allow your ego to trick you that it's not here. Beneath the World card, it says, in every moment the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love. And so this breaking down, this world, this completion, it can be scary, chaotic. It can be like, what is this? Right? But in total surrender, you can find comfort in the unknown because you know that all things happening are really for your highest good. And that's what being tapped in means. Never forgetting that no matter what it looks like. That's that level of faith that's hard. Right? But those are the moments where you can display your trust and your belief in the divine. Right? Even in chaos, I'm cool because I understand that this is for my best. Very easy to say, right? All right, Forrest. So your difficulties was the loss. So what is difficult for you? What is difficult? It's the loss. It's really letting things go, letting all those tools go that aren't going to help you build this home that you're about to begin to build. And like, I don't really want to name off tools because I don't know them, but just, you want to make sure that everything in your toolbox is practical, beneficial, helpful, and useful to the next, to the agenda that's coming in. So what is your strength? What can you tap into? We have grief. Imagine that. Grief. In this moment, how can grief help you? It says tears are what happen when the ice in the heart melts. And so what can help you? What can power you up in these times where things seem unknown? Crying, feeling, grieving the loss of all that is separating from you. Just grieve it. Just let it go. Right? Feel it. And it's okay to be sad, confused, disappointed. It's absolutely okay. right? That's your ego being like, wait, what? You mean I wasn't right? Like, you know what I mean? I did all this, I did everything, and this wasn't it. This wasn't the call. This wasn't the way, right? And so as things, but when we've attached so much energy and emotion to outcomes and they don't manifest, they actually leave our life in some way. This could be people, places, and things, right? Habits, behaviors. Nonetheless, we need a moment to process, because you put a lot of energy into things. And when they slip away, it's not like, oh, okay. No, you put energy in because you really were committed to an outcome. But when you're really walking in truth, and when we're answering a call, when we're closing out cycles, when we're being called to really rise in our understanding, anything that doesn't support that has to go, no matter how important, no matter what pedestal we put it on. And so in those moments, it's okay to cry. It's always okay to cry. But in those moments, the idea is to feel it. Right? And it's when you feel it. Beneath grief, what do we have? The magician. The magician. So grief is the fuel to you stepping in to your power to create, to manifest. You are becoming a magician. You're writing your own story. You're co-creating, and the universe is your co-pilot. It's you and the universe, and you understand that you have all the tools you need to step into the next room, right? To go into the next doorway. You just have to let go of the door frame. But as you stand in that door frame, as you hold on, refusing to go, not really understanding the loss that's really about to happen, this grief, as you're holding on to that door frame, cry. Cry. Release. Right? Your heart is going through a renewal, and you need those tears to manifest. Let them fall. They are fuel to what comes next. Beneath the magician, it says, there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. Goodness gracious. It's really crazy. But I had a conversation with my father last week, and he said, listen, there is nothing sexier than someone, a woman, walking in her purpose. There is nothing. And it doesn't look like a specific thing. You know, like it's not a line on a resume. It's not a degree. It's not a certification. It's not a number in an account. It's nothing that, but it's when somebody is in their purpose, when they are authentically them. There's nothing sexier than being authentically you. There's one of you. And so when you are you, and when you are doing you and living you, it's impressive because there's only one of you. And when you're vibrating in your truest form, you become magnetic. You're your lightest in that moment, right? And so this makes me think about our heart being as light as a feather. You know, when we grieve, it talks about all the heaviness that was encasing our heart and not allowing us to be this magician, to really step up and take a seat in the direction of our life. Everything that stopped us from realizing that we are in control is leaving us. And we're stepping into our purpose, and it is beautiful, it is attractive. And prepare to have an audience. Prepare to have an audience. There's only one of you. Everyone else is taken. And when you are truly being you, everyone else is like, wow. You know? How cool is that? And so that's your strength. Crying, releasing, creating, and always making sure that everything you're investing in is taking you towards your truth and your authenticity, and it's keeping you on path to purpose. Any tool, people, places, or thing, anything that is not aligned with purpose must grow, must go, and it's okay to cry. The loss of that. You realize that whatever replaces it is love. And that will come in any form that the divine, God, the universe, spirit, ancestors, guides. It will come in whatever form of love is best suited for our greatness. right? But you can only get those things. Those things can only arrive when you are meeting them. It's like you're going on a date, but you have to show up at the same time. So you have to be moving in the right direction in order to attract and pull in the things that are truly meant for you. All right. So your goal, card number 5, this is the goal. We have worth. Worth. The goal is worth. You've been worthy to belong to love all along, without any need to improve. In fact, you are love itself. So this is saying, like, think about all the hoops and hurdles you had to go through to receive love, to feel love, to know that you were worthy of having the most beautiful experiences in life. When we're talking about loving self, loving others, but just living in environments that are conducive to our growth, our strength, being with people that pour into us, build us, like, we are always worthy of that, and you never have to achieve or ascend or acquire or earn. There's no hoop to jump through to receive your true value. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe that you have to earn. I saw something the other day about earning your rest. Sometimes we feel like we can't rest until we've exhausted, nearly taken ourselves out, right? We feel like our worth is in the struggle. And this is saying, no. Your goal is to know that no matter what, you are always worthy of having the most loving life, right? Like, this was always meant for you. And the last line says, you are love itself. Not only is love looking for you, seeking you, yearning for you, but you are it. You know, you are exactly what you've been looking for all along. And you won't know that until you are living your truth. So I talked in the beginning, and beneath worth is the Page of Pentacles. So what does this mean? You're learning this. Pages are youthful energies. This is the only court card here. Pages are youthful energy. So this is the energy. You are becoming a student in your own life. Right? And so this page is paying attention to nothing else except for the pentacle in its hand. And the pentacle represents an opportunity. It's a message of hope and prosperity. But the fact that you're a page means that you're a student and there's a lot left to learn. Right? But the learning, the journey, whatever comes with this pentacle, whatever comes with this seed, this opportunity, this message, this possibility, whatever you have to do to put in the energy, to put in the work, to make this bloom and blossom, it really is not going to be the struggle that you thought it was, because you're worthy of it. It's yours. So the false beliefs that we believe about love and life and having and not having and working and becoming a slave to our own story, all of that is going. When you understand your worth and when you're walking in your purpose, you can focus on the prosperity at hand. And the prosperity is the seed that's in you. And you're discovering it, and you're understanding that it's leading you to your greatest outcome. Beneath the Page of Pentacles, we have my fearless freedom lights up the world. And so this page is unafraid to go after this pentacle. It's unafraid to pursue it. Right? But this is also an energy of being logical and practical and self-disciplined. But because it's a page, these are things that you have to learn. These are not things that you necessarily feel comfortable mastering, especially in this new energy of self. So my fearless freedom lights up the world. So it's the light within you that is guiding you, that is displaying itself to others, right? And it's this freedom. This is making sure that nothing is restricting us from being ourselves. We always want to be free to live in our moment, to live in our purpose. We can only be ourselves. Everyone else is taken. And so that's what this Page of Pentacles is realizing, that the moment I have in my hand is a moment where I can literally be me, unapologetically, fearlessly me. I can be free of anything I can free myself of all those tools that don't help me build and create anything that's attached to that reflects my worth. Alright, so at the bottom of our first deck we had freedom. It says, I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release from me its bond. So take a look at that picture. And so it's like this bird represents an aspect of us. Like we want to be able to fly, but we couldn't release this bird. We couldn't let it go because our hands were bound by these rubber bands. And so think about freedom is really opening up and engaging with life in the universe. In order to manifest and create, you have to be open, you have to engage. But if your hands are bound with resentment from what was, how can you build your house? How can you pick up your tools to build, to create? You can't. And so that's why it's important to grieve the loss. That's why it's important to cry. Because every tear, one of those rubber bands of resentment pops, and it's freeing our heart, right? And so that's that journey. That's why we have 4 major arcana cards, because they represent what that's going to feel like. These are major moments. When those rubber bands pop from around those hands and you can finally release that bird to free itself and to live its own destiny, my goodness. But it's a struggle to do that, right? And that's those rubber bands are because it says, I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. We didn't know that holding on to people, places, and things, or resenting things for not turning out in our favor, we didn't know that just by living in that energy, we were blocking what was for us to come. Right? And so we are trying to free ourselves from what our mind and our ego convinced us. This is, it doesn't even have to be from people, places. This is really, you're freeing yourself from what was old, from identity that you used to belong to. Right? It kept you bound and it stopped you from flying and soaring and elevating in the way that you needed to. Beneath freedom, we have the 2 of Pentacles, and this talks about, you being involved in many things, right? And so Pentacles again, it talks about prosperity, but just engaging in life, in earth, in order to have something materialize. And so you could have a lot going on. And so this could talk about freeing yourself from things that are pulling you in many different directions, but may not be bringing you balance. And you could feel pulled in different directions as you go through these shifts, right? And beneath the 2 of Pentacles, it says, I am the loving energy of the universe. And so that's the energy that we should live in as best we can as we grow through these cycles, these shifts, these changes, these ebbs, flows, ups, down. All of it is taking us to our freedom. And what can help us? That's what this makes me think of. Looking at these 2 Pentacles, one is energy, and then one is it's almost the energy you live in, and then it's the mental space, right? And that's what gives us temperance. And so if we can go through these changes, if we can release and grieve and let what is not meant for us to go, then we can balance ourselves and we can prepare to step into the good. And so you could feel a little all over the place, 4s. But this is really about a massive change. Now, I had an extra card come out, which is the 10 of Pentacles. And so we did have all tarot here, and every tarot card was either a pentacle or a major arcana. And so I feel like all of this major energy that you're going through, this is really going to be connected to your finances, your creativity, your passions, the things that you're building. This is about making sure that what you build in this life is about long-term success and stability for self and for family, right? Once you unlock your heart, once you grieve, once you let everything go, once you let it out, your heart can fly. And it can lead you and show you the direction in which you should go and flow. Okay, 4s, fly high. Thank you so much for stopping by. Take care.